Southbridge. This is Denise Clemence with Southbridge Community Television coming to you from K Street. We are here in front of the historic Lensdale Building on the American Optical complex. Built in 1888, it is the oldest building still in existence on this campus today. Better known now as the Southbridge Innovation Center, the campus is home to many different businesses, manufacturers, but today our focus is on the Southbridge Mills, a $23 million readaptive housing project here in town, put on by the Wind Development Corporation. We are going to meet Angela Giles, the project manager, and we're also going to speak with Scott Mempa, who is from the architectural team responsible for all the design concepts here. They are going to give us a tour and tell us all about this project, and we are going to bring it to you, our viewers. So join me now as we go inside Southbridge Mills.
Wind Companies was founded in Massachusetts 52 years ago and is the state's largest manager of affordable housing and a leader in the development of mixed-income housing. It employs more than 750 people in Massachusetts. The company owns and operates 125 apartment communities in 11 states and the District of Columbia. Southbridge Mills will join the more than 6 apartment communities in Massachusetts owned and operated by Wind Companies. Wind Development has been responsible for the reuse and rehabilitation of 41 historic structures since 1981, creating nearly 5,000 new apartments in 7 states and the District of Columbia. No other residential developer in the United States has won more awards for transforming vacant schools, mills, and other historic buildings into multifamily housing. The architectural team, better known as TAT, T-A-T, has been Wind Development's partner on almost every one of its historic adaptive reuse projects during the last 50 years. TAT holds a national reputation in the area of historic preservation, rehabilitation, and adaptive reuse, transforming neighborhoods across the United States by artfully restoring and reimagining neglected building assets for new uses. The Southbridge Mills project, often referred to as the American Optical project, is Wind Development's second adaptive reuse effort in Southbridge, following the recent redevelopment of the former Mary E. Wells School, which created 62 units of affordable housing for seniors 55 and over. This $23 million adaptive reuse project at the American Optical Complex will convert the 19th century mill building into 48 apartments, 12 one-bedroom units, 31 two-bedroom units, and 5 three-bedroom units. It's conveniently located a half a mile from the historic downtown Southbridge and is close to many amenities, including schools, hospitals, and parks. And it's only a 30-minute drive from Worcester and a 45-minute drive from Hartford. Good morning, and thank you for being with Southbridge Community Television. We are here today, as we said we would be, with Angela Giles, who is the project director for Wind Development here at the Southbridge Mills, and beyond perhaps?
Other mills, absolutely.
Okay. And we also have with us Scott Mempa. Scott, you are not new to us. You were over at the Wells Project. You are the project manager here as well for the design and architectural side of things.
Correct.
So, as we said to our viewers earlier, we want to hear all about this project and how it even began. You know, how did you end up here in this particular, in the Lensdale Building? What was the focus? How did you get here?
Yeah.
Angela, you want to tell us a little bit about the story?
Absolutely. So, you know, I think every project is a long time coming. And this project in particular, the Southbridge Mills, 5 K Street, got started at least back in the 2010s with permitting, with doing site due diligence, with working with the town. And at that time, there was another local developer, Franklin Realty Associates, kind of putting that all together,
Correct.
Working with the architects, the engineers, the town, to get it through all those processes, which takes time. And then in of 2020, 2021, that is when wind companies, wind development came into the picture. We were developing the Mary E. Wells School down the street with Rich Relic, and the wind companies kind of specializes in old mill buildings, adaptive reuse, things like that. And so because we were already in town working on the wells, it seemed like a really good partnership opportunity to kind of come in and work on this project as well. So we kind of took it from the post-permitting, we kind of finished permitting, and then started construction. And that started in October of 2021 with Delbrook JKS Construction, the architectural team, all our other consultants and engineers. And we are now about to move in our residence in a week from Saturday, so February of 2023. So really, it's been a long time coming.
But that's a short process, actually, when you think about the timing.
Construction's the easy part.
I guess. Well, I'm not so sure. From what I understand, construction itself has its challenges because you never know what you're going to find behind the walls of an 1888 building.
That is true.
So, that's a great story as to how Wynn came into it from the Wells project, and Scott met you up there as well, as I said. So, really, I can't wait to see the units, because certainly, if they're anything like what we've seen, we know that your work is amazing. And some of your work online, of course, anybody can go to the Wynn company's website or the architectural team's website and see some amazing projects that they have worked on through Massachusetts and through the country. So tell us some of the design issues that you might have faced, or what are the challenges that you maybe didn't, things you didn't expect in the process of construction and getting it to where it is today?
Well, we knew we had one big issue with the mill, and that was center section was leaking and had been leaking for a long time. So water, wood, over time doesn't mix very well. So we had a lot of beam rot, decking replacement that needed to be done kind of in that central section that almost needed to be almost completely rebuilt using more of today's lumber. We're not using pieces of southern yellow pine. We're using LVLs and engineered lumber.
Right.
But yeah, that entire area had to be rebuilt. And then just the little things that we find along the way, the unforeseen conditions when we start tearing down and doing full-scale demo. So that includes some additional brick, mortar repair, waterproofing on the outside. You'll see on the back side where the wood siding was. That entire wall is framed out of wood as well. So that was also kind of deteriorated and had to be reframed once we opened up, saw the guts of the wall. So overall, it wasn't the worst building we've seen, but there definitely had its challenges, just like every project does. But together, with Wynn and Delbrook, we all kind of found the solutions for it and got everything completed.
Well, so far so good from, again, what we're seeing right here in this model unit where we're doing this interview. Yeah. So you started in October of 21 with the actual construction, and you were smack dab in the middle of COVID. We've asked this question before. I mean, supply chain issues. How in the world did you adapt to the lack of what you might have expected to have ordered in and what you in the end had to source and get? I mean, was that even a problem? Maybe it wasn't a problem. Maybe you guys were, I don't know, somehow ahead of everybody else, but I know the rest of the world was having a big supply chain issue. So can you tell us anything about the hurdles on that respect?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah, go for it.
Sure. I'm hopeful, knock on wood here, that we're starting to get out of the most challenging times of construction. But definitely when this project started in October 2021, there were still a lot of, I'll call it kind of global supply chain issues. And so we did have to be strategic in terms of ordering stuff like really in advance that you're not used to ordering so far in advance, but just the lead times, given whatever it was, manufacturing difficulties, shipping difficulties, things like that. We also had to just, I think overall, as in all our projects, in the last few years more than ever, just be flexible and adaptable. If there was something the architectural team had specified and was no longer available or we couldn't get in time, then working together to find an alternate replacement, things like that. But it really didn't have a big impact really at all on the schedule.
Didn't slow you down.
We had to find innovative ways. You know, things might have been out of sequence, but you know, for instance, flooring was kind of back ordered. Plus, with the wood floors that went down, we wanted to keep that kind of towards the end so that they didn't get destroyed during you know the finishes and construction phase. So you know, so there was a lot of flexibility. Delbrook was great with being flexible and kind of working around that sequencing. Them and their subcontractors. And then, you know, on top of the supply chain, we also had to account for, you know, being an historic property and under NPS, getting their review times in as well. So there was some challenging times, you know, getting windows approved, things like that.
Correct. And windows can be a big structural, it can be a very big issue when it comes to the National Historic side of things, exactly. So, I mean, the other things, you're right on the water here. Did the river pose a problem to the construction side of things? Or, you know, I mean, it's beautiful out there now as you walk up from it, but I mean, that was a big source of the energy here so long ago. Did that pose any issues for you guys? I mean, you know, how did that?
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a kind of ongoing theme that we see when we renovate these mill buildings. They are very close to water for hydroelectricity, but water levels are also rising. So there's no getting around that. So here, our first floor was in the floodplain. So, you know, we had to raise that first floor about a foot overall to get it above that floodplain level. But then otherwise, there was some canal work that was done that was kind of outside of the project. But,
yeah, overall, like Scott said, the raising of the first floor, which can actually be quite common in properties like this in such close proximity, that was the big thing, get out of the flood zone. But aside from that, yeah, not, you know, we've also worked in properties where you've got the canal running under your building. You've got like, you know, you're building units on top of it and stuff. So this was actually, it's pretty far.
Right. I get, yeah, it's a very nice accent piece, obviously. It certainly will be wonderful for the residents to be able to have that resource to just a nice calming effect on life in general. So.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
But no more hydro for you here though in this, I mean, so in terms of the energy wise on this building, you know, is there any special features that the people don't know about in terms of that? You're not a LEED building, right? Here, this one?
We are LEED certifiable. So we followed guidelines that are placed for a LEED, you know, basic LEED certifiable building. So we followed those guidelines, but not seeking commissioning for any of the LEED stuff. But you know, we were able to insulate bedrooms, so we got some insulation on the walls. Otherwise, we had to leave the brick exposed in the living areas, which actually it's a very nice feature, but you know, in terms of energy efficiency, lacking somewhat. But we made up for it, you know, with again the restoration of the exterior of the building, you know, air sealing, getting all the mortar retooled, and then with our windows that went in. Our windows are energy efficient, double glazed.
It's also a new roof.
Yep, new roof with added insulation.
Yep.
And then the heating systems are actually high efficiency. They're gas-fired furnaces. So.
There you go.
But they're also, you know, the equipment that we could get, we tried to go high efficiency as much as possible.
So in terms of construction, I mean, this was an old building, as you said, 70,000 square feet of storage and lens grinding space and such. What design, you know, what issues, you've got 1, 2, 3 bedroom units, all different sizes and shapes from the floor plans I've seen. So how does that all fit in? You know, I mean, how does a building like this, in terms, you know, obviously schools are one thing, they're set, a set platform or whatever you want to call it, design, but you've got the old mill building. So did that ultra challenges
did that pose more challenges for you guys in terms of that, the design-wise? Or what made you decide?
Yeah.
What made you decide on how you were going to lay out the building, I guess would be the...
Well, schools, obviously, the classrooms lend themselves very well to unit layouts. But mills, on the flip side of that, once we go through demo and we, clean them out and get the structural repairs done, you're pretty much talking about a wide open floor plate. So we work with the developers to come up with a unit count.
Maximize the space.
Exactly, maximize the space. Also, that works for their end, financially in terms of owning and operating the building. So that's first and foremost, is trying to hit a unit count and then a unit mix based off of those numbers, and then from there, the developer and when they look at the community and basically kind of decide multifamily, is it going to be 55 plus? What's the market that's going to go there?
Yeah, and although open floor plate, to a certain extent, we think about, making sure there's adequate windows, that we're working, if there's existing beams, working around those, to design around those. You have to make sure hallways, corridors are like minimum widths.
Right.
And then so what are you looking at with your unit size? But overall, mills tend to lay out roughly well for a double loaded corridor.
Right.
So, you walk down and then you got the units on all sides, and there do tend to be really abundant windows, huge windows, which make for great units.
They're beautiful.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Great
beautiful.
natural light.
Yeah.
So. All right, so let's see, moving on with this project, is there anything that surprised you? Is there anything unique that the people should know about this particular project?
That's a great question. I think that in terms of the physical aspect of the building, there's really nothing immediately that actually jumps to mind. More the history.
Yeah.
Because I learned a lot getting
Yes.
involved in the project. I believe that this was the first building built in the whole campus.
Yeah.
And then it went through a number of different uses, first with the manufacturing and later on into, I think, offices and labs. There are some cool details in one of the, I call it a tower.
Yeah.
We restored these letters that say AO on them.
Nice.
That's a nice detail. And so yeah, just the rich history that's here.
This whole complex, now that it's the Southbridge Innovation Center, but the AO complex in and of itself, it's world renowned. I mean, with their over 6,000 employees and the world's largest, optical company, it resonates with those who have been here all their lives and those who move in here. It's just something unique and a huge part of history for Southbridge. So having this first in a number of developments that are going to happen here, it's pretty exciting for a lot of people. And it's nice to be able to take the mystery off of what's been going on in the K Street building and the Lens building, So that's part of the impetus today, is to make sure that we can bring unshroud what's going on here and let people realize that it's such a beautiful development and there's so much more to come. Speaking of that, so you have 48 units?
48.
And how's the renting going? Are you full already? What should we be?
Yeah, so the lease up for this project went very well. It was, which is great on the one hand. On the other hand, it's a signal of just how much affordable housing is needed. So we actually, I think we will be full within a few months, which may not sound that impressive, but normally a lease up, I don't know, maybe it's like 8 move-ins a month or something, but I think we'll be moved in all by April.
Wow.
So just a few months. And we've got a lot of excited future residents. Move-in day is always so awesome to see when people start coming in, making it their home.
Big eyes,
it's really cool.
New, all fresh and new. It really, it's a beautiful
Yeah.
It's just unique in its design, certainly. And so that's exciting to hear. So, okay, but if people are still interested, should they just say give up because it's going to be fully leased, or should they get on a wait list? I mean, you never know. People change. People these days move constantly.
Absolutely. Yeah, the waiting list will remain open.
Okay.
So we've got a website, you can Google us, there's a phone number, there's multiple ways to make a contact.
Southbridge Mills?
Live southbridgemills.com.
Okay, like Live Wells School, when originally we're doing the residents at Wells. Okay.
And then you can get on the waiting list that way.
All right.
Absolutely.
And the Wells School, now the same management company is going to be overseeing the leases and the I say guests, they're not guests, the tenants, occupants here. So, and how are things at the Wells? What's the update there? Are they well?
They are very well.
Very nice.
No, it's shaping up to be just a great, I think, close-knit community over there. And to your point, wind development, we do manage our own properties, and we're long-term owners of these properties. So there is a lot of the same staff overlap. The folks who did the lease up over at Wells and the folks who are now responsible for ongoing maintenance operations, they'll also be working over here. And it's great because it's just a few minutes drive down the street.
Down the hill. You're at the bottom of the hill. They're at the
About a mile.
Yep.
There you go. That's wonderful to hear. Congratulations on the fact that so many people want to live here. I think that's just a wonderful thing. It's wonderful for Southbridge. It's wonderful obviously for wind development, and it's a testament to the architectural team who made it appealing for everybody to want to be here. So. In closing out the interview, before we get to our wonderful tour that Angela's going to take us on, is there anything else that you want to say to the community, or any plan? Can you think of the future plans for this property? What people should expect as the occupants come in and it's developed more? Is there anything else that you can tell us?
Sure. Well, excited to point out things on the tour. I think I always like to reiterate the point of just how many people it takes to make these things happen, and you're just seeing a snapshot talking to us, but really just a huge appreciation for the dedicated teams and the engineering side, the consultants, the GC, all of the subs and the sub trades. I mean, it really takes a village to make these things come to life, and it's really remarkable, I think. And we'll have probably in a few months a big celebration that we'll make sure everyone's aware of, and highlight when the weather's nicer and our landscaping is settled in a bit, highlight the outside a bit more. So we'll look forward to that and make sure you have all that information.
Awesome. We look forward to coming back for that and bringing more information to the people. Now, let's get on with the tour. Let's see what's really going on behind the walls of the Lensdale Building.
Perfect.
So the hallway's great. Look at these beams. I mean, these columns. The columns are fantastic.
They are so beautiful, and all the exposed wood on top as well. It is, I think, always a really cool juxtaposition to have such modern things like all the ductwork, but then with the historic aspects.
Right. And this is so different than the Wells building.
Right.
In that building, everything's closed in. It was a school, as we said. It was already adapted to be in that, to everything to be put away from the children, students. So this is really unique that you can leave it all open and just have, you're living in an industrial,
exactly, industrial, and it's really high ceilings. That's really nice as well.
And we tried to, in what Angela was saying before about, double-loaded corridor and how you lay that out. We tried to showcase these columns, as much as possible. Instead of, we could have, had this wall come out, 2 feet more to this point, but then you're burying the history.
That's it's lovely.
Some of the, that's a replacement, but some of the existing columns and stuff, and it gives you as you travel down.
Oh, it's fantastic. The look is just
breaks up
absolutely.
the corridor a little
Yeah.
bit.
Right.
I would love to have guests come and come to my apartment here and just see this.
Yeah.
So
What I also love, and that TET is really good about doing, is also kind of breaking up hallways with these
the recessed doors.
the recessed unit entries, creating that sense of arrival as opposed to just being one long thing. And so we always like to kind of do a splash of color, a nice light fixture, things like that. And we see that residents tend to put the mats there and the wreath on the door.
Oh, they decorate for the holidays. Oh, I've seen this.
The holidays.
It's everyone's unique.
Right,
Exactly.
right. So we like to have that space for that. So we've got just elevator, staircase, some mechanicals over here. So this is the central elevator bay.
So this is great. I love all the brick, the exposure. Yet you've got your modern elevator for everybody, the stairways. Now, is this one of the ones that was reused?
This was the only one, right, that was reused.
So let's check this out. Come on in, Angela, show us. Oh, this is wonderful. So think of the history in here. I mean, the amount of people that went up and down these stairs.
Right.
Just absolutely incredible.
And then even as you let up to it, you see a little ramp there.
But you've got a nice metal piece. It makes sense. It all makes sense. It goes.
And a little divider wall, so you still have the elevator on the side there, and
Exactly.
you still have access.
So it all works.
And we've got one of our laundry rooms
Okay.
right here. Just common area laundry. A few washers, a few dryers, space to fold the clothes.
So waiting to be filled.
Waiting to be filled any day now. And these are actually some different columns. I don't know that we've seen these ones
Lolly
yet.
columns.
Yes, but steel ones. Yeah.
Sometimes you just have to have steel columns.
Exactly.
And these were original to the building as well. So,
You
so
couldn't
over
tell.
time, they installed columns, where they had either heavier machinery or the loads were greater. And when we come in, if we can remove it, we can. If it's going to be in the way of something, but
Or build around it.
yeah, exactly. In this instance, if we remove it, we would have to put something else to carry it because I believe the structure was compromised. We have uplift requirements now with negative pressure and stuff. So there was before it was all gravity that was just holding everything down, gravity and weight.
Okay.
But building code is worried about uplift. In terms of a tornado.
Right, and we had one.
So
Not a good
now, we have to make a physical connection of those columns, to the floor plates.
Right,
So
right.
we, again, trying to kind of match what would have been here originally,
Right.
rather than trying to make it look new.
Right. Industrial chic now.
Exactly.
It's all good. All right, so we're going to the 2-bedroom now?
Yeah, going into a 2-bed.
Awesome.
With different views.
Great.
So come on in.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, so we're going to see a totally different layout.
Wow.
The majority of the units are.
Two in here. And look, different. You walk into the kitchen here, which is different than the one we were just in. Nice. Look at the size of this area. Wow.
Now these corner units are always kind of extra special with the 2 exposed walls.
This is unique with the brick and the wood ceiling.
Yeah, all that natural.
Who wouldn't want to live here?
All that natural beauty just sandblasted and left on display.
Yeah. I'm going in. I'm going in to check out the bedroom.
They tend to have
Look at
quite
this.
nice size.
I got a beam in my bedroom.
Yes.
What do I do with this column? How cool.
We will see what our future residents.
I know, right? I have some ideas with, I could hang a few things, but
Exactly.
So this is, look, the huge closet.
Yes, really nice
Lovely.
closets. And there's actually a bath in this. Unit.
So this is an ensuite.
Yep.
Hang on, let's see, light switch. Put some lights on so we can get some.
Yeah.
Show us your bathroom.
Just nice, spacious bathrooms.
That is one thing I've noticed in the projects I've seen. Evoke Wells here, big bathrooms.
Yes.
Bigger than any apartments,
And to have that personal space is a plus.
And everybody gets their blinds. I know that projects like this, I question that again at the like, what are they going to do with these windows? They're so high, and that's when
Specialized
Rich from Arch Community said, specialized. Yeah, we put the blind, we put something in for them. I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, wonderful.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, very nice. So let's go inside
Yes.
and check it out.
So we're gonna go in the main entrance here, which we'll see is the last of the stuff to get worked on. As I was mentioning, this is the very last thing that's getting worked on. So you'll see this is still a little under construction, but we'll be ready within a week, which is pretty incredible.
It's going to be around the clock, no
Yeah,
doubt,
it
no doubt.
really is.
Great.
So we can head in this way. Yep.
Take off a coat for this
Yeah.
tour.
Yes, back and nice and warm. So,
All right.
yes, we don't yet have our artwork or furniture here yet, but I can kind of give you a sense of this space will be filled with both of those things. And then we have the mailboxes over here. We've got a package room, you know, with all of the online shopping these days. We try to create a dedicated space just for packages, common area bathroom, and yeah, and then we can kind of go over that way and turn the corner into the amenity kitchen and then the larger lounge.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Again, great, you know, aesthetics when you come in, and that first real feel of what's to come in the rest of the building.
Yes, and yeah, when you come back for the groundbreaking, we'll see all the artwork up. It is a really cool artwork package
Nice.
that we have coming.
Nice.
And we're also reusing a number of historic doors that were present on site, like big steel rolly doors. Yeah,
wonderful.
so those will actually be hung in areas as artwork as well. So this is going into the main tenant lounge kitchen.
Resident lounge, yeah.
Good to see some real life construction folks still meeting.
Okay. Wow, nice space.
Yeah. So
Good place for gathering.
exactly. We do see these spaces tend to get used for all sorts of gatherings, you know, whether it be a birthday party, a celebration. You know, we're seeing more and more people use these spaces during the day to work from home, kids do homework.
I could see people, especially if you're in one of the smaller units and you just need some extra space, and you just want to feel a little more open, the weather's not good, hang out in here.
This is so much fun. We
Oh,
really
thank
appreciate
you.
you guys taking the time to highlight this great project.
You know, we thank you for allowing us to come in and take up your time. I know you're busy, you've got a lot going on.
We already lost the architect to back to work.
Yes, back to work. Scott's gone from us, but you have been very gracious to bring us through to show the public what's happening here at Southbridge Mills. And so thank you, Angela. Thank Wind Company and the architectural team company for allowing this Southbridge Community Television to be part of your vision, your reuse here in Southbridge. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.